5 seconds away from extra rounds. Normally the countdown here on New Year's Eve, but we're doing it early in Times Square, New York, New York. It is the site of UFC 281, and this is extra rounds, courtesy of UFC Fight Pass. Hey, everybody, I'm TJ DeSantis with Raging Iaquinta. Appreciate you joining us live here on Facebook and YouTube, or in the building here at Dave & Buster's, which is the place to be other than MSG. If you can't be in the building, be right here. No cover tonight for UFC 281. Al, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm excited for these fights. This is they always bring the heat at MSG, and this card's no different.
100%. We got a main event that is fun to say the least. It's the first time that Israel Adesanya has met Alex Pereira in mixed martial arts competition, but it is not the case when it is, including the kickboxing realm. And it is Pereira that has the advantage here. He's got 2 wins over Izzy, and the Brazilian wants another win tonight. And if he gets it, he'll walk away the new UFC middleweight champion. And when I look at this fight, that is the narrative, and one that has sort of popped up a little bit here, Al, when you look at Israel Adesanya, the way he's been conducting himself all week long. The man is on a mission. He's fired up, and there have been some knocks to Izzy as a champion when it comes to his finishing rate. It's dropped off, since he's become the champion and is defending his title. But, I mean, if you need to motivate Israel Adesanya, this is the fight to motivate him. You know, he can get some redemption. Do you think we're going to see a more aggressive Adesanya tonight?
You know, I don't know. It's I think he's going to do whatever he has to do to get the win.
Yeah.
Get that win back. Keep the title, keep the belt. Like you said, he hasn't been finishing guys.
Right.
He's been just getting those wins, and when you're the champ for that long, it's hard to go out every single time. Some guys you just have to get the win.
Right.
You know, so.
I mean, styles make fights, right? And that's one thing that you have to keep in mind when you are, fighting at this high level. You got to make sure that, at the end of the day, it's great to win bonuses. It's great to win fans. But if you do so at the expense of your championship, I mean, it's a life-changing experience, right? If you don't walk out with the belt that you walked into the octagon with, I mean, you're talking about a massive decrease in pay.
Yeah, no, it's got to be tough to have that belt. All these guys, everybody. I mean, he's lapped the division. He's beat everybody, and this is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be a wild fight because they have that kickboxing two losses.
Right.
Izzy does against Pereira, and he could. I feel like he could. MMA he's been doing longer.
Right.
Probably a little bit more seasoned. I would gotta think he's more seasoned with the wrestling and the takedowns. Probably the path of least resistance would be to go in there and mix it up, but make a statement, beat him in his own game, try to get that knockout back. That's what I'm really looking forward to see. What Izzy's game plan is, how he comes out. I mean, Pereira's huge. He's gotta have like 10, 20 pounds on him, I think. He's a huge guy for that weight. Man, it's gonna be incredible.
When I look at the Brazilian, I understand you're right. It is similar to the idea that they have kickbox. He won both of those fights, but you mentioned it is a mixed martial arts fight, and the fact that takedowns and things like that exist, it's a possibility. Not even necessarily that they're going to happen, but the fact that they are a possibility, you got to think that does change the way that these guys sort of square up against one another, because you have to be thinking more than just, okay, he's trying to kick me, he's trying to punch me.
Yeah. Even if Izzy just faked a couple takedowns,
right.
Just get him thinking about something else, so that Pereira can't let those hands go like he usually does. Would be smart. But Izzy said it's personal.
Right.
He said it's personal. He wants to get those knockouts. He wants to get that knockout back and those losses back. So the mentality going into it, and also the guy knocked him out.
Right.
Like,
it's not like he just edged him out in both fights by decision. It was a fight that, at least one of them, there was no doubt. You can't walk away and say, oh, I really won that fight.
Yeah.
No, like, you got knocked out.
Yeah. But on the other hand, he was probably winning those fights.
Right. That's true,
too. Very
too.
close fight. So the mentality going into this one, you wonder what they remember from those fights.
Right.
And if where they're holding that memory in regards to this one. It was so long ago, but it could probably feel like it was just yesterday.
Right.
I'm sure Izzy, for a long part of his UFC career, didn't think that he would be seeing the guy that knocked him out in
right.
the UFC.
And, that's the thing, too. When you look at Pereira, he's a guy that, made his UFC debut a year ago. This is his 8th mixed martial arts fight, and he's fighting the middleweight champion. Obviously, if he didn't hold those wins over Izzy, probably not getting this fight if it's a different champion. But the fact is, that's what's happening. That's who's standing in front of Adesanya. But, when you factor in the UFC being a different sport and a different sort of promotion, and also this fight being in Madison Square Garden, it makes me wonder, and I'm not saying this to disparage the Brazilian in any way, but it makes me wonder if he's truly ready for this, because this is a spotlight that burns a lot brighter than others.
That's a huge point right there. Great point. He kind of got fast-tracked.
Right.
Because he's been dominant. He doesn't really have, there's no one else.
Yeah.
So it kind of just worked out where he jumped on the scene. They gave him kind of the fast track to the title. He hasn't, probably the competition he's faced, and as he said it, he hasn't faced much as far as the high-level guys in the division on the way up, that's the hardest part is getting to the title. There's so many guys that you have to beat in so many different styles, and I feel like he's gotten pretty good matchups because they did want him.
Yeah.
But he did what he had to do. He knocked guys out and looked spectacular in doing it and earned his title shot. But like you said, the UFC's what did you say? The lights.
The lights burn brighter there, especially in Madison Square Garden. Again, I'm not disparaging any other venue, but this is the building that is nicknamed the world's most famous arena. You make that walk. It's not like walking in the Apex. It's not like walking in the the old Ultimate Fighter gym. It is something of an all new world, and that's the other thing when you look at Pereira, again, not trying to disparage him. He's a combat sports veteran, and again holds 2 wins over Adesanya. But most guys that are entering their 8th professional mixed martial arts fight, they're like stepping up to the LFA level, not the UFC, not Madison Square Garden against the best middleweight on the planet. And I think that is one thing to keep in mind when you look at the odds. Let's take a look at the odds courtesy of DraftKings, because Adesanya, despite having 2 losses to Pereira, is a minus 210 favorite. The comeback on the Brazilian underdog is plus 180. So when you look at that and take that into consideration, I think that's the reason we're looking at Adesanya as the favorite, because he is just more seasoned, more experienced in this UFC spotlight, and obviously has done a lot more than Pereira has thus far in mixed martial arts competition.
So much time has passed since those fights, and Israel's just, he burst on the scene, and he's looked great. He's gone up in weight for Jan Blachowicz, and put up a valiant performance against him. It was an incredible fight for a guy that really just, you could see the size difference between the two, and he's ran through his own division. So the difference from back then till now in Izzy's skill sets just jumped leaps and bounds, and even then he was incredible. So it's going to be good.
No, 100%. That is your main event tonight here in New York City. Madison Square Garden is a place to be. If you can't be there, Dave & Buster's is your next best bet. No cover tonight here in Times Square, so if you're in the area, come on down, hang out. Justin Gaethje's in the building. Iaquinta's here right now, so come out and say hi. It's always a fun fight night atmosphere inside D&B, so please come on out if you can. Let's take a look at our co-main event. We've got Carla Esparza taking on Zhang Weili, and this is interesting. Carla Esparza is an athlete who holds pretty historical significance in this strawweight division. She was the inaugural UFC champion at 115 pounds. Tonight she takes on another former champion in Zhang Weili. But going back to Carla's last fight, she beat Rose Namajunas in Phoenix earlier this year. It was a plotting fight, a tactical fight, and one that, unfortunately for Carla, sort of follows her. The fans were booing her, which is sort of weird to think about when you consider the fact that when Zhang Weili fought Rose Namajunas in Florida, she was booed, and it got to her a little bit. She didn't like being, in hostile territory. And here, in New York City, she was, cheered. She was the favored fighter in the eyes of the fans, and that is sort of weird. Like, mixed martial arts fans, they're not always patriots, right? The Chinese woman is getting cheered over the American woman. I wonder if that affects Carla at all.
Yeah, that last fight was.
It was tough. It was tactical. I think purists of the sport, Al, will say, I appreciate what she did because she did what she needed to do to win. But that's going to be a microcosm of the whole room. Most of the room's not going to say that.
Yeah, I don't. Even for me, she should have done. I don't know if she won the fight. I don't know if it really even was.
It takes two to tango, you know. Like, no, I mean, Rose didn't necessarily engage either.
The fight was, but you know. Weili's legacy is pretty much set in stone. She was the first Chinese champion.
Right.
She's beloved. People love watching her fight. I think most people that are tuning in for this fight, they want to see Weili fight.
Right. And also, too, the fans that were, at last year's Madison Square Garden show, they remember her fight, with Rose. So, like, incredible. She is someone that's familiar, with the New York fan base.
Yeah, when Carla's... When it's all said and done, and her legacy, I mean, I think she really needs to go out in this fight and put a statement. Get out there, take down, land some leather, maybe a submission, do something that makes people remember that more than the last lackluster performance and a few others she's had. You look at her records, split decisions, a lot of close fights, not tremendously exciting. But she gets the win. She gets it. She does get it done. No matter how she does, she wins. But I'd like to see her go out there and really go for it tonight. And
I think that is sort of the key to an Esparza victory. If we see her victorious tonight, it's going to be because she's aggressive. She shuts down the striking offense of Zhang Weili, because we know that Weili is going to be aggressive. She's been that in previous fights. The one way that Carla could stop that is if she gets that double leg early and puts her down on the floor.
Yeah, Weili's tough though.
She is.
And the odds, the odds have her way ahead. Yeah,
let's take a look at those odds too. Our coming event available for you on DraftKings if you'd like to put down some money. Minus 330 is the line on the favored challenger in Zhang Weili. The comeback on Carla Esparza at plus 275. DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of the UFC. New customers can make a money line bet of $5 or more and get $2 in free bets if your fighter wins at UFC 281. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use code FIGHT PASS and get in on the UFC 281 betting action. When you were fighting, Al, did you pay attention to those lines? Did you, check out to see if you were the favorite or the underdog?
I tried not to look.
Yeah.
But somehow it always would pop up on
someone will tell you, right? If you don't look, someone will tell you, right?
Yeah, someone would always, and I'd be like, I liked being the underdog.
Yeah.
I liked it. When I was the favorite, I for some reason that when I was the underdog and the betting, I wasn't not the betting favorite. It motivated me a little more to prove the odds makers wrong.
You like being the spoiler a little bit. I like that.
For sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a fight that you don't need to put money on to be intrigued by. It is your featured fight of the night. The Diamond Dustin Poirier is back in action. He takes on Michael Chandler. This is pound for pound, in my mind, no matter where it is on the card, the most intriguing matchup of the night. Dustin Poirier always brings it. Michael Chandler loves to entertain. But, I feel like this is a fight where Poirier is going to be the favorite and for a reason, and that's because, to me, his striking output is a little bit more well-rounded than Michael Chandler. Chandler is a phenomenal wrestler, wrestled at Mizzou. We saw him, kick Tony Ferguson in the face earlier this year. But when it comes down to Poirier's striking game, he's just more of a mixed martial arts-based striker. And if Chandler engages him on the feet, Al, I kind of think that you got to lean towards the Diamond because he's just more comfortable in those types of firefights.
It's I don't know if Chandler cares about winning or losing.
That's interesting.
I don't think he cares. I think he trains like he wants to win, but when he gets in there, he just wants that crowd to go nuts, and it's entertaining. But in a fight like this, Dustin also very entertaining, but I think he's more focused on winning and more technique, tactical, strategic. Those little things that he can do to get the win.
Right.
Their skill sets pretty similar. Gaethje,
Poirier?
Chandler.
Chandler.
Very heavy hands.
Right.
He could land that shot at any time. Dustin's a little more steady, a goer. You know, his technical boxing, I think he's a little more polished, a little more seasoned. And then, you know, Chandler's wrestling doesn't use it too much, and then when he does, more of a takedown. It doesn't, not too crazy on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, not going for anything. I think Dustin's jiu-jitsu will hold up well if he does get taken down. But firefight on the feet for sure. That's what I think it's going to be. And I see Gaethje Chandler written all over it.
Right.
Where Chandler's just coming after Dustin. Dustin's landing shots. Chandler lands something big, and I see it being very similar to the fight we saw a year ago here at MSG.
Yeah, 100%. You know, when I look at this fight, and I feel like, don't get me wrong, both guys are really well-rounded mixed martial artists, but, you know, you mentioned the sort of jiu-jitsu skills that Dustin has. He does have that. He does have, you know, kickboxing skills, but, you know, Chandler, I think we need to see like a throwback of Chandler a little bit. We need to see those wrestling, you know, skills come out in play and in action. If he wants to be most tactical, I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, like I think we need to see Dustin sort of keep his space and keep his range, and Chandler needs to get on the inside and win those dirty boxing and wrestling and clinch exchanges.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. The clinch could be huge for Chandler. I think he's just got to chill out a little bit, not get so crazy. I mean, I just see when he was just walking down Gaethje and he was just getting shots landing, and he didn't even care. He was just having fun in there. He enjoys it. He enjoys it. But it'd be nice to see a little more tame, a little more technical.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think a lot of it comes down to who's going to land the more shots. And, you know, speaking of shots, your fan base here, Al, they want to know if you want to take a shot. You want another shot? You want a shot here on the air?
One.
Well, why not?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's stoke the fires of Raging Al here.
Do a tequila maybe this time?
Tequila, uh-oh. Now we got a request. All right, our producer Steve's on it. So we'll get some spirits flowing here for Al Iaquinta. Again, I'm TJ DeSantis. He is Raging Al. This is Extra Rounds, live from Times Square here at Dave & Buster's ahead of UFC 281. The prelims have started. They are live right now on UFC Fight Pass. Of course, it all leads up to a monumental show coming up live in Madison Square Garden. You know, talk about the significance of MSG a little bit, because, like, you know, as an outsider, you know, I grew up in the Midwest, but I've always heard about Madison Square Garden. You know, the Mecca, like you haven't made it until you made it here in a lot of ways. And you know, what is that building like on Fight Night? What does it feel like?
Oh, it's electric. It's electric. It's the spirit of epic combat sports. You feel it. You feel it walking in that service elevator that takes you down. You see it. It's everywhere, and then you're in there. It's like, wow, this is for real. This is awesome. And then you're down in the, you know, in like the little dungeon in the back.
Right.
You see the pictures on the walls of all the greats that have fought there before, all the actresses, the singers, the performers, Billy Joel. Like, you see everything that's gone on there, and to be a part of that, it's just incredible. And the crowd is electric. The crowd is a different crowd here in New York. They're wild. They're loud.
They let you know how they feel about you,
it's
too.
It's a loud arena.
You know what I mean?
It's a loud arena, and they're going to be cheering. They're going to be booing. They're going to be doing something. There's not a quiet crowd. It's lively. It's intense.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think is cool about it is, like I said, the New York crowd, they're not afraid to let you know if they're on your side or not on your side.
Yeah.
And you know, that is one thing that I think, you know, other places, in more neutral settings, you'll see, you know, a mixture of fans, but I feel like they're almost more united as who they're, you know, backing.
Yeah,
and that's interesting because it's all about energy. Were you someone that enjoyed being a fan favorite? Did you feed off of that energy when they were cheering your name?
For sure.
Yeah?
For sure. When the crowd is behind you, for me, I loved it. I fed off that. You know, the walkout when everyone's cheering, it's awesome. And when you get booed, you're kind of like, oh man, really? Is it?
I remember.
What did I do?
I remember.
What did I do? And then that one.
Yeah.
That one for sure. That was a crazy fight. crazy emotions. And I always said, if anyone booed me, you watch the fights and decision happens and
right.
people, oh come on, they're like sympathize with try to like get the crowd back. And I was like, nah, don't freaking do that. I go, if I ever get booed, I'm telling them to go after themselves. And sure enough, a little bit of I got hit a few times in the head in that fight, and you're getting booed. And on TV, you can't really hear it because it's not as loud on TV. But when I was sitting there, it was like there was the whole crowd was like booing right in my ear.
Yeah.
And I saw these two guys up top, and I was like, I focused on those two. They were like, boo, and they were giving me the finger. I just looked at them. I was like, you're booing me.
Right.
You know.
I kind of like it though. Like that's the thing about mixed martial arts. Like it's real. You know.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things where these moments happen. And I think sometimes people forget what the emotions are like in that moment, because it's sanitized when you're watching at home. But in that moment, and that's why I think, while maybe those fans didn't like you necessarily giving it back to them, there were a lot of people out that loved you for it.
Yeah. I left I left that cage and I was like, what the hell did I just do? But I'm still acting tough, like fuck everybody, But in my head, I'm like, what the hell is going on? And someone from the UFC PR, they came up to me and they were like, this could actually be a really good thing. And sure enough, that's like one of the most memorable parts of my career. I think people, when I talk to people, they bring that up always.
But fighting's emotional. It's raw. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's not like like they say you don't play fighting. You go out there and you fight. It's not a game like that.
No,
so
that's whenever they go, when's your game or something? I'm like, what?
Right, yeah,
game?
it's not.
Like, this is a fight.
Right, exactly. Let's talk about a guy who I don't think is going to be booed at all tonight. His name is Frankie Edgar. He makes the walk for potentially the final time in his mixed martial arts career. His UFC run could come to an end in the Mecca. Frankie is no doubt, first ballot Hall of Famer, if you will. The guy has done more in mixed martial arts than many could ever dream to. And what's interesting, Al, is he did it at lightweight. It seems like so long ago and so many pounds ago. But, Frankie Edgar is a guy who at one time dethroned the best lightweight in the world of all time in BJ Penn. Things have changed since then, but you cannot take away anything from the accomplishments of Frankie Edgar.
No, he's one of the best to ever do it. He's, for a guy that was undersized for the weight, undersized probably for 45.
Yeah, seriously.
And now going down to do what he did at 155 and to have the reign that he had, and I'd really like to see him go out there and go out at MSG with a victory. He's got a tough fight in front of him. But yeah, that he's just the epitome of like an East Coast hard-working guy. It's just and never talked shit.
Right.
Never went outside of himself. Always true to who he was, and just a likable guy, and just as tough as they come. There were so many fights where he was down and hurt, came back, won. They don't come tougher than him, and it's gonna be it's a end of an era. It's the end of It's going to be sad. For me, I'm going to be sad watching him. We're going to lose however he goes out.
Yeah.
It's going to be him running out to running
that
out
signature
to the cage,
sprint, man.
Signature sprint, and I hope that he does well tonight.
Yeah, and when I think about Frankie Edgar, let's look at some of his career accomplishments here. Again, no doubt Hall of Famer, 24-10-1 in MMA, former UFC lightweight champion. Made his debut back in February of 2007. He went out and defeated Tyson Griffin via unanimous decision at UFC 67. Tied for most fight of the night bonuses with 8 and #1 for total fight time. 7 hours, 55 minutes, and 9 seconds inside the octagon, which, that's an 8-hour workday, you know what I mean? Like, that's unbelievable.
Unreal.
And, when I think about it, you talked about him moving down in weight. He fought Jose Aldo at 145 pounds when Aldo was the king of the world at 145. And for me, I thought that Frankie was very competitive in that fight. Had it been a 7-round fight, he might have even won because he started taking over rounds 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
His boxing's great. His wrestling's great. he's a goer. He's a goer. He's a guy that just knows how to win. You know, he knows how to get it done. And when guys are outmatched, when guys are stronger than him in the beginning, he finds a way. And like you said, with that Jose Aldo fight, came back and was looking good towards the end of that fight.
100%. So I said it was all about shots today at MSG, and apparently it's all about shots here.
I tell you what, you might have to take that. You might have to take that one on your own. I hate to do it. I hate to do it to you.
I don't even drink, Al.
That Jameson one got me. I had a late night last night. This one might come up if I put it down. It might come up on air. I swear. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I'm not drinking.
I was hoping you were gonna forget them.
My producers are telling me I have to.
I feel like such a. Can I curse on here?
You can.
Yeah, I feel like such a bitch right now.
That's okay.
But if I do that right now, it really might come up. I'm starting to. That Jameson's sitting in my stomach.
I don't drink, Al. Like, don't ever drink. Yeah. It's like my 6th shot in my life.
You're a freaking trooper.
Yeah.
You're a freaking warrior.
That's gross.
You want to do this one too?
No, absolutely not. Nope. All right.
I had a late one last night.
Yeah.
So
well, you're celebrating with Aljamain, right?
We were celebrating Aljo's win. I had a lot of shots last night. We had a lot of shots last night.
Let's talk a little bit about Aljo's performance over in Abu Dhabi. You were in the corner. I almost felt bad for Aljo because people want to poke holes through everything, and they're saying this performance, against a hurt T.J. Dillashaw. Throw that out the window. It was a performance against a former champion in T.J. Dillashaw. And it was a one-way sort of performance. What were your thoughts when you saw Dillashaw's shoulder go out in the fight?
I was like, oh, you hurt his shoulder. You get him. This is beautiful. Aljo took him down and he posted and his shoulder popped out. Aljo looked great in the first stance. The opening of that fight, landed a beautiful jab. His movement looked great. He was winning that fight regardless. I think that TJ threw that kick. Aljo caught it, took him down, and the shoulder popping out sucks for TJ.
Right.
But and it was disappointing the way TJ got on the mic right after and kind of discredited Aljo. He's still discrediting Aljo. Listen, he says Aljo's not the best in the division and blah blah blah, and he was so much better. If you're so much better, then you should have been able to beat him with your shoulder popped out. You know what I mean? If you're so good and Aljo's not, then you should have been able to beat him with one shoulder. And Aljo dominated that fight. There was not even. There's nothing you can say. There's no. Like if you had one speck of a moment where you looked good or anything, you could have some hope that if I had 2 shoulders, I could have done something. But you didn't do it. From the moment that bell rang, you guys went out there. Aljo was popped him with a jab, caught the kick, took him down, and just dominated him on the ground. I think he would have done that. I know he would have done that. 2 shoulders or 1 shoulder, or however many shoulder popped out. You know what I mean?
He could have been an octopus and had 8 great limbs.
He could have had 8.
Wasn't gonna
octopus. Aljo would have still would have freaking tied him in a knot.
Yeah.
I mean, Aljo is so good, and it sucks because I think this was really the fight that, there's fights where you got to just win, and then there's fights where you can really look good and put yourself over with the crowd and become that superstar. And Aljo has become that with this fight, but it's the fact that it's kind of like with the shoulder thing, it puts a little bit. If you down Aljo, if you're still doubting him, even because of the shoulder or whatever, I mean, he's by far the best bantamweight in the world. He might be pound for pound best. I train with the guy. I know what he does to guys in the gym, and he is just on another level. And he's really coming into his own. I think the Aljo era is the funk era. It's starting. It's starting, and it's building momentum. And he's got. I think Peter Yan was probably the toughest stylistic matchup for him in the division.
And look how good he did in the second fight.
Yeah.
I mean, he left no doubt.
No,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
It was a competitive fight, but that was the thing. Like, I felt so bad for him. in the idea that he won the belt in the way that he did, because people are going to say, oh, you won by disqualification. But then to come out there and be significantly different than the first fight and go out there and do what he needed to do to win, and then cement it with a win over Dillashaw, like you said, like it's the Funk era, and you can't deny it, you know?
Yeah, no, he's now look at, he's got, I think O'Malley's a great matchup for him. I think now these guys, he's kind of got past that toughest matchup in Peter Yan. These guys, everyone's tough.
Right.
Everyone's tough now. The bantamweight division is so
great.
deep. It's so stacked. But I think Aljo's got a style that's like no one else's.
Right.
His movement on the feet, he switches stances. His kick heavy. The dexterity in his legs. He can just bring his leg up like nothing.
Yeah.
Bring it over.
And I was talking to Eddie Bravo, who obviously is a phenomenal jiu-jitsu player, has the 10th planet system, and he was saying that he felt that Aljamain Sterling might have the best jiu-jitsu in the entire division because of the way he gets on people like a backpack and doesn't move. He will not let you go. He's relentless there, and you know that's the thing. So Sean O'Malley gets his win over Peter Yan. You know, maybe he's the #1 contender. You can argue some people thought that Yan won that fight. What are your thoughts on that fight? Like, do you think Sean O'Malley is ready for that big of a step up in competition? I know Yan is tough, former champion, but, you know, not many people are necessarily thinking that maybe this is the fight that, you know, cements him as the #1 contender. Even though he beat the #1 contender, maybe there's a little more, you know, grooming process needed.
I think he opened up a lot of people's eyes. I think people didn't know whether he was ready for that test and that level of competition in Peter Yan. And he showed that he definitely belonged there. And I originally, watching the fight, thought that Peter Yan won the fight. I haven't watched it again, but what everyone's saying now is when they go back and they watch it, that Sean O'Malley definitely won that fight.
He made the argument, which, you know, anytime you make that argument in a close fight, you know, I hate the saying that a fight could have gone either way, but that is a fight that maybe could have gone either way in the sense that O'Malley had some of the bigger moments. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. He landed some big shots, and he impressed me with his wrestling. With he landed some good takedowns. When he got taken down, he got back up. Really went tit for tat in every category against Peter Yan.
Yeah.
And no, I think he's definitely up there with the top guys. But I think Aljo's just so good. He gets on that guy's back. And he's going to do it, and he's going to do it early. I think his O'Malley's relies a lot on his length in the boxing realm, and Aljo takes that away with his kicks, with his movement, and then the takedowns are there. When the takedowns are there, gets on the back. Good night.
If you were the matchmaker, which obviously you're not, but if you were the matchmaker and you could pick who was next for Aljo, would it be O'Malley? Would it be, say, you know, Henry Cejudo? Who would it be?
Yeah, I think Henry makes a good argument coming back. He's been out for a while, but you know, never lost the belt. Went out the way he went out, and if he wants to come back, I think that's a good matchup, and it would get the fans excited. There'd be a lot of banter back and forth.
Oh, sure.
There has already been with these guys. Cheeto Vera's there.
Yep.
But I don't think they put O'Malley in there with him. I think they want to save him. I think they want to save O'Malley. I don't think it goes too well for him in that fight. Cheeto's a tough fight. I think Aljo's maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, Henry would have been looking good in that fight, but Aljo's just getting better and better. I think he's surpassed Henry. Henry's probably been hanging out a little bit. Looks like he got a little chubby. He's enjoying life, which he should. The guy's put in a tremendous amount of work, and you know, his lifetime, it shows with the accolades and the accomplishments that he's achieved. But yeah, coming back after that long of a layoff and fighting in general is tough.
Yeah.
Coming back and fighting the champion is tough. Coming back and fighting Aljamain Sterling, who's just on a different level, a style that he's not going to be able to replicate in training and leading up to the fight.
Right.
I think it's going to be very difficult. But, you know, I'm Aljo's friend, so I'm very Aljo heavy here.
Of course.
People are probably like,
you got to be, right?
Yeah. You know, but yeah, I just know how good he is. I see him every day in the gym, and I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves just because of the way things have unfolded.
Yeah.
You know, with the last couple. I mean, remember Corey Sandhagen. Remember,
right?
This is a guy that is in there with everybody, fighting tough, and Aljo just went right through him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think that.
It just seems like it's Aljo's time in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
And I've said this to Ray in the past, on extra rounds. Aljamain seems to have bought into himself a little bit more. He's more confident than he's ever been before, and for good reason. When you go out there and you handle people the way he has, you should walk that walk. And it's unfortunate though, because I think that some fans also kind of don't like him for the way he has his own little swagger and style about him. But I personally love it.
Oh yeah, it's easy to hate when you see somebody that's just doing great. You know what I mean? He's working hard. He's confident, and he should be, and it shows. I was with him last night, and I was just looking at him like, this guy's just glowing.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's just glowing. The momentum is building, and momentum is a big thing. That momentum is the biggest thing. He's got the momentum now, and guys, watch watch him on top of TJ Dillashaw.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody does. I mean, I was getting claustrophobic for TJ just sitting there watching Aljo. I was like, oh my God, this sucks to be TJ, because I know what it's like to be in that position in a gym where no one's watching you and
right.
you're just there, is helpless, and this guy's just on top of you. His mount is so tight, and you can't even turn. The guy's on top of you, mounted on top of you. The only thing you can do is turn and give up your back, but his mount is so tight you can't even turn. There's no space in his jiu-jitsu game. And yeah, people watching that TJ fight, the guys in that division, they're scared. They don't want to be there.
Right.
And
yeah.
when that's in the back of your head, when that's in the back of your head, that's gonna throw you off. You know, it's gonna throw you off, and it's almost like that Mike Tyson, Ronda Rousey effect.
Right.
You know, where you're so scared of being in this position, you end up there.
Right. No, 100%. So. I'm excited to see what is next for Aljo, but excited to see UFC 281 tonight, again, live on pay-per-view. If you are here in New York City and cannot make it to the building itself, come on out to Dave & Buster's. No cover tonight. Justin Gaethje's hanging out. It is a fun atmosphere here at Dave & Buster's each and every UFC Fight Night. On the way out here, Al, let's get some official fight picks. Our main event, of course, middleweight championship of the world is on the line. Israel Adesanya, a familiar fan favorite to many, defends his title against a familiar foe in Alex Pereira. Pereira, of course, the Brazilian that owns 2 wins over the last style bender in kickboxing, but this is a bit different. It's mixed martial arts, and Izzy has proven to be the best in the world at 185. Let's get your pick, Al. I need to know who's going to walk out of Madison Square Garden as the middleweight champion of the world.
People have been asking me this over the last month and the last week and over the last couple days, and I've been going back and forth. I don't know. There's so many factors that go into this fight. There's a lot of unknowns, going into it for Pereira. But I gotta go with Izzy. I think Izzy gets it done. I think that his experience in the UFC, I think the competition that he's faced, I think the demeanor that he's had in the lead up to this fight, he's been kind of just quiet and very he's like an assassin,
right?
You know what I mean? And he's going in. I think that's the mode he's going into this one with, and I think he's going to get it done.
Does he get it done with an emphatic statement and a stoppage, or is it one that's going to go to the judges?
I hope it's an emphatic statement. I hope it is, but I don't know if it's going to be. I think he just wants to. He's been on that path the last couple fights where he's just getting that win, and I think he even said he might just go out there and kick his leg the whole time. I think whatever he's got to do to get it done, but it's going to be exciting no matter how it goes.
All right, Iaquinta is going with the last style bender to get it done. Let's talk about our co-main events. We see a fight between Carla Esparza, now the 2-time strawweight champion, taking on a former strawweight queen in her own right in Zhang Weili. It is the challenger who is over 3-1 favorites. Who are you picking? You going with the challenger, or is it Ann Still for Carla Esparza?
I think Weili gets it. I think Weili gets it done. Carla's, she might have a tough time getting that takedown.
Right.
Weili's, I mean, I think she's going to be well prepared going into this one. The wrestling is going to be squared away for her, and that's really Carla's only path, I think, in this fight is to get that takedown, get it early, and I don't see it happening.
I feel like we're going to know exactly what this fight is going to look like within the first, 90 seconds.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
If she gets that takedown, you just say, oh, wow. But even if she does get the takedown, not necessarily telling throughout the whole fight, but I think we'll see early if Weili has done her homework, and if she fends off that first one and starts landing shots, it's going to be a long night for Carla Esparza.
Can't wait to see it happen in your co-main event for the Strawweight Championship of the World. Featured fight tonight takes place in the lightweight division. We see the Diamond, Dustin Poirier, against Michael Chandler. Who's going to win this fight? Spoiler alert, everyone is going to win this fight.
Everybody is winning in this one.
But who walks away with their hand raised?
Oh, man. This is going to be crazy. I just have a feeling this fight is going to be, there's no other way. There's no other way. I mean, unless there's like a quick knockout somehow.
Right.
I think that would kind of, I could see Chandler going out there and getting it done in that fashion. But I think the longer it goes, the more the crowd gets into it, the more Michael Chandler forgets about even that there is a winner and loser in this fight, and he's just going to go out there and just let it swing. And I think Dustin's a little bit more seasoned, so the longer it goes, I see him getting it done.
So maybe it's one of those fights where you kind of hedge your bet. You say Chandler early, Dustin late?
Yeah, I could see, definitely.
Right.
I'd say that's how I see it.
I kind of feel like they have already written out the bonus check, or at least filled it out with pencil to these guys, right?
There's one less bonus going to everybody else because that's the one that's going to get it.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's going to be an exciting matchup. Dustin Poirier taking on Michael Chandler. Again, all part of your UFC 281 pay-per-view. It is live from Madison Square Garden. If you could not be in the building tonight, even if you're not even in New York City, go to a Dave & Buster's. But if you're here in New York City and can't get into Madison Square Garden, come to this Dave & Buster's right here in Times Square. It's always fun. No cover tonight as well. So come hang out and watch the fights with friends. Here you're among friends. So
great place, great fights, great food. Dave & Buster's, love it.
Eat, drink, and play. That's what they say here at Dave & Buster's. Al, anything else going on we need to talk about on the way out here? What you got going on? You selling houses?
We're selling houses. If you're looking to buy, sell, or rent anywhere in the United States, I can help you out.
Really? Anywhere?
Anywhere.
What if I want to buy a house in Bismarck, North Dakota?
We've done it.
We've done it. Look at that.
We've got people all across the country.
Al's got the hookup.
Put you in touch with the best of the best, and we get it done.
Al, I appreciate you coming out. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you having me. This has been awesome.
He's Reginald Iaquinta. Uh-oh. Klondike, our
real estate
intern Hall of Famer. Come over here, Klondike. Come on.
Questions.
Come on.
I've got answers.
Oh, you're like Radio Shack. It's not even in business anymore. Come around, Klondike. Got to go the other way. This is Noah Klondike. He's going to walk in front of the camera. What are you doing, Klondike? That's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. This is how you learn. This is how you learn. Come over here. Come over here. Have a seat. Intern Hall of Famer right here. Noah Klondike. I don't even know if you can be in frame here. Oh, man. Everything's going wrong. Let's take this here. Put that there.
Okay. I've never used a headset like this before.
Get him in.
Yeah. You say, no, we're on camera. You made it to the big time. Klondike, welcome to the airwaves.
Thank you. Yeah, my real estate question would be, if I get a license in New York, how fast do you have to be on with a brokerage before they say you don't have a license anymore?
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
If you get your license, to keep your license so it doesn't expire, do you have to be with a brokerage within a certain period of time?
That's a good question. You have to do continuing education. I don't see why, if you had it with a broker or not, it would matter as long as you just did your continuing ed. Why, you have your license?
I'm in pursuit of my license, but I didn't know.
There we go.
Yeah, if I get the license, then it's do I have to be with a brokerage and then you lose it, or once you get it, you're just good?
That's a good question.
Long story short, I think he's asking for a job, Al.
Let's go. Oh, yeah, let's go.
There you
We'll get
go.
you on the team, man. We'll get you on the team. Where are you located?
I'm in New Jersey.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Oh, you're always going to know somebody buying or selling, and it's a great It's a great thing to learn, to know about. I think it's the best thing you can invest in.
So I've heard. That's why I want to get my license. I want New Jersey, New York, and Florida. That's what I'm going
let's
for.
go. We got big aspirations here. I like it. Awesome, man. Take it over. Get it done. Yeah.
Anything else, Klondike?
That's all my real estate questions.
Perfect. Thanks for coming on the air.
Thanks for having me, TJ.
There he is. No Klondike.
Yeah.
Intern Hall of Fame.
Good question.
There you go. See, we got real questions.
I'm gonna have to go do some research and find out the 100% answer for that.
All right. Awesome.
But yeah, no, it's a good question.
All right. Al, thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the fights
man.
tonight, and we'll be talking soon.
Absolutely.
He's Al Iaquinta. I'm TJ DeSantis. This has been Extra Rounds from UFC Fight Pass. Appreciate you joining us. Don't forget, UFC 281 is live at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on pay-per-view. The prelims, they're up now, so head over to UFC Fight Pass, tune in, and check them out, and also check out all of the archives of Extra Rounds. Normally, I'm joined by Al's coach, Ray Longo, who break things down, all things UFC, so go check it out. For Al, I'm TJ. I want to say thanks to all of our producers here on the ground, Walker Van Way, Frankie Redzepi, Steve Coyne, the Intern Hall of Famer, Noah Klondike, and thanks for tuning in. You're always in our hearts here when we're on the ground, so thanks for tuning in. Thanks for going a few extra rounds right here on UFC Fight Pass.